not only do we have an interesting character on the home screen, we've got some interesting characters in the splash as well. Hello? Hello, hello, hello! Whoa, something major has just changed. Those black blocks, those teleports, don't go away when I load a save anymore. Alright, that is going to be huge for testing, and I have a lot of testing to do. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Minecraft Broken Script. And I have made a single change that I believe is going to make a world of difference. See, last time I was once again really pissed off by the fact that this mod really likes to just arbitrarily kill you, and that makes it really difficult to engage with the central premise of the mod. See, Broken Script is meant to be a very slow burn that attaches itself and eventually consumes your single player, your vanilla experience. This game really has a penchant for just killing you in ways that make it difficult or impossible to recover your items. Now, some of you have suggested a number of solutions, and I haven't really liked any of them. First of all, because I don't really like adding mods to mod showcases, I like for it to be the only thing, and because I don't like to overly make it so that there's no consequences for dying. I mean, if I get blown up by a creeper or make a portal miscalculation, I want that to have consequences, and the reason for that is because it's the whole reason why I built things like the Catch Me platform, it's why we have the drain rails, and why we spent so much time mapping these things out and building that stuff. It's the primary motivator for progress. Those things really killed a lot of the cows again. And maybe we can come up with a solution for that too. And so doing something like setting game rules so we simply don't ever lose our items, that doesn't really give me the discretion I want. Switching to creative is far from a perfect solution, but I think you guys have given me something that's pretty close, and I'll show you why in a second. It almost feels like the game is trying to apologize to me by giving me diamonds left, right, center. 64. Well, tell you what, that's just a good reason why we don't want to spend more time underground. There's so many things I want to catch you up on because there's actually a huge amount that I want to do now. We are going to come right over here. Actually, what am I talking about? We don't need to drown ourselves. There's a skeleton right there. Come on. I'm giving you a free shot. Take me out before the fire does. You guys burning at night. It's such a weird image. Oh, what? When I want to die, you won't kill me? There we go, come on. I wasn't sure if that was a heartbeat, but according to the subtitles, I'm pretty sure it was just regular ambiance. There we go, I was killed by a skeleton. And normally that would mean I drop my items right here, but I've gone and installed the Gravestone mod. Hey, you guys are back. This constant daylight blinking is kind of annoying, but at least we know that the world is working again. So, we come back here, and what we'll see is that instead of a smattering of items that will disappear after about 5 minutes, we instead have a grave containing, I guess, our zombie clawing its way out. But we can right-click on it to see who we were and when we died, or we can break it open and, well, we didn't have anything in our inventory right then, but if we had, it all would have been preserved right there and would have come out as a drop. Looks like there's another cross that's appeared right there. And I'm not demolishing anything anymore. And something new here. Oh, that's made out of netherrack and redstone blocks. Maybe we'll do some experiments with this in the meantime. I have so many experiments I want to do. But as I was saying, it does seem to me a happy middle ground between just arbitrarily losing our stuff to things we can't plan for or avoid, and, you know, still having some challenge because we have to go back to where we died and recover all that stuff. And that's all well and good. That, you know, kind of solves the problem, but it actually does more than that because of a feature I didn't know this mod did. When we die, this obituary is placed in our inventory. Now, that tells us the coordinates of where we died, which is also cool, but it also says what dimension. So, for example, if we were to die in the Nether, it would tell us about that, but that's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is what it'll say for the dimensions we've explored, for the ones we've yet to explore. In other words, where dying was a huge problem in the last part, it's now kind of our goal. So let's see what happens. Okay, we've still got our tunnels between tunnels here. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm kind of curious what'll happen if we burn. We can just toss that obituary because it doesn't matter anymore. Alright, we're going to drop ourselves into the lava, catch fire. Okay, that was just in case I couldn't get out. We're going to allow ourselves to burn. We are dead. And we respawn with an obituary. Dimension Null Torture. We have a name! Yes, we officially have a name for the drains. Now we're here. And, oh wow, I should have brought a pickaxe so I could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone, because you guys had another excellent idea that might help with our operation down below. But if we can find there's our elevator. Let's say we have a bit of an elevator accident while we're here. Dead, fell from a high place. We get our obituary. Clan Void. That one is known as Clan Void. Oh, and I guess the second page will also list what we had on us at the time. I've got to wonder, does that refer to Null's clan? Or does it refer to blackouts? Because the main reason I'm here right now is to sort of investigate what's going on with the Blackout clan. We know that they seemingly had a rivalry with Null's clan, culminating in them stealing their base and something to do with a Discord shutting down. But I doubt it was some kind of like malicious black magic sort of rivalry. They all seem like normal guys too, from the communications we have here. These dialogues preserved in signs. But it does give us a place to start. From what we've seen, it seems like they persisted after Null's clan all vanished, and sometime later, the same thing started happening to them. I want to be really careful. I don't want to destroy these signs, although I will take screenshots, as if I'm not recording all of this. And I want to be careful with this, because some of you suggested the idea, much like in the Broken Chunk and World 2, that I should try looking behind these signs. It would somewhat make sense, because, remember, the back wall still has stone behind it. Or actually, no it doesn't. No it doesn't, but these stone sections are big. We should try excavating them. Oh. It's done this again. I think we've seen this before. Some chunks are loading back, but not all. What happens if we can't leave, and it is behaving like server desync. You know, look at that. We can't even see what's below because it's all in darkness. It can't show the lighting. Actually, it's like it's breaking in multiple ways. Oh, hey, there's our starting crafting bench. I'd forgotten all about that. It's like they've created their own isolated little world too, but those null entities have followed me through. In a couple of seconds, I'm imagining all this will go back to normal if the past is anything to go by, or... Nope, we can't break blocks either. You know, years ago when I had a terrible connection, I always did find these moments creepy. The moment where you'll be happily building or mining along, and you realize only when things start freaking out that you've probably been disconnected for at least a few seconds longer than you really think. And then you're just kind of waiting for everything else to drop out. Have we just been put back? Does not seem so. Not when you can look down and see the aura, but not the sun itself. Down is not the proper direction for that. But yeah, I always found that desync and lagging out kind of came in waves. I mean, the first sign was always that you would have a laggy voice chat, maybe eventually dropping out entirely, although there were weird instances where that was the only thing that persisted. Then you would notice things have gotten a little bit silent in-game, and the final sign was that any blocks you mine just start reappearing, and at that point you just kind of freeze in place and wait to finally be kicked out officially. Usually I would log back in immediately after and find that my last minute or so of progress was completely undone because it was only really happening client-side. It's kind of like Null trapped me in its own little snow globe here. Will death get me out? Actually, are you even moving? Okay, I think you are. Never mind, it's like you only really existed in the little pocket you were in. Yep, we're still doing this. Alright, enough chit-chat, let's go back to base and get our tools. Oh hey, all our cows are gone now, that's awesome. I mean, I wasn't really using them anyway at this stage, but still. We can get enough food from here. It's not like I really live very long anyway. Alright, let's grab a pick. I'm not really going to worry about diamond picks anymore, because, I mean, it's not like we are going to run out of tools anytime soon. Never mind, I'm not sure we've left the weird dimension at all. That's actually really cool. This is a much more subtle depiction of server desync. I'm kind of of two minds of this mod because some of the events I kind of find to be a little over the top. You know, like really loud noises playing, the one, especially when it lowers the draw distance. I would almost prefer if it just did it without a sound. Like, there's things that just can't be mistaken for a glitch, but then there's all these subtleties of a broken world, the kind of thing that you would mistake for genuine bugs at first, that it gets absolutely right. I mean, this is a triumph of coding on some level. And I was actually talking with some people in the comments of the last one that this must be, like, a mod that is meant to emulate bugs must be an absolute nightmare to troubleshoot and bug test. They assured me that, yes it is. If we break something, it does genuinely break. However, I think something is still up because I have broken a whole lot of grass and I haven't received a single seed. Sometimes you'll think that you're out of something, and then there'll just be that small thing that makes you realize that you're really not. Kind of reminds me of the famous lamp story from Reddit. What happens if we try to use a portal? Absolutely nothing. Nope, all of this is still fake. What does happen if I leave and come back? Well, we'll meet you guys, that's one thing. That smiley face in the splash kind of feels like it's mocking me. We're back. We'll probably still have flippy vision. But things are working again. Alrighty. Now, I believe the last place we died was in this world, in the clan dimension. But if we look at our obituary, we died at 9598. So, if we look at this, we're actually not far away. Ah, yep, see? Look at that. I mean, it's all samey, so it felt like we might as well be a million miles away, but we've found our way back to our markings. Yep, here's one big gap. Hey there. Oh, one of you suggested that we should try talking to you while you're here. Maybe with a period? You don't seem to want to answer at all. Oh, hey, thanks for the jams, man, but I've already got a couple copies. Nope, just a bit of a delayed reaction. Let's go with some other ones that we know. I don't know if looking directly at you actually does anything, but remember, freedom. We've never asked that before. You want freedom. I feel like I'm hearing something else. I mean, we might as well shotgun. Gotta make sure we get the syntax right for the ghost, right? That's all you've got. And there's our elevator. Oh, it is so scary falling in the pitch darkness like this. But you gotta do what you gotta do. As long as you don't go too far, you should be fine. Now... Well, it said 9598. Oh, Z178. It put our grave all the way up there. That's weird. I'm not really in a huge hurry to get back to it, though. I didn't even have anything. Alright, it looks like our grass is actually spreading quite nicely, but here's where the science comes in. And we're going to screenshot the coordinates of this place, which is more or less in the 80s. Now, prior to all this realm just had light. It was a thick white fog, but it was bright all the time. Unless, of course, you went down underground. But that changed when I updated, and I'm guessing that's just like a change that the mod made. But some of you suggested that there may actually be light above the back rooms, and that those are actually blocking light from reaching down here, which would make sense. So that's what we're going to try and do. See, here's why I don't necessarily think this is going to work. Look at the fog. Look at the distance. I was just going to say, it's all dark, and fog looks different depending on time of day. But, wow. You really threw that in my face, like, oh, you don't like it? Well, here you go. Through here, we should be getting close to the exit portal now. And there we are. Oop. And catch me. Oh, hey, R2's still stuck here. Look at you and your JPEG outline. Okay, unfortunately, we've lost our best method for getting out of here, especially with the low draw distance. Hey there, bud! I'm still not sure if you do that from me getting too close, or from me looking directly at you. I know you would do it if I got too close. But then again, there's the version of you that comes at us in the mines that I can straight up attack, and it'll actually cause you to leave. Nice house. Thanks. I liked yours when I saw it in World 2. Now we're really from the fog. Let me just check. Are my buddies back? My buddies are back. They're definitely in need of a population refresh, but they're back. You know, I actually have thought of an innovation for these guys, and it's kind of stupid and funny, but I think it's ultimately worth it. So let's start clearing some space, because sooner or later I'm going to need chickens, and they're going to be at even higher risk. Alright, we're gonna need some grass to start growing here, because you guys need things to graze on. And we're gonna start building an underground cow bunker. Because, look, those things, they don't go after the cows, they go after me. And when they're going through the cow paddocks, that's always because I'm in the way. So, what we want to do is just make sure that they're out of harm's way when that happens. If anything, those creatures will go over them. We want to make sure we're at least a couple blocks below ground level, because those things probably do dip a couple blocks lower than that. And we'll make sure there's dirt to grow down there. And see, this is the kind of thing I enjoy, and this is why, because people are like, well, you can make changes to do it. Well, how come... And see, this is another one of those instances where I always feel like I have to explain the difference between good difficulty and bad difficulty is no difficulty at all. Because, you know, people are like, well, just dying randomly is part of the experience, it's just part of it. Well, here's the thing, I like challenges where I can respond, you know? This is the kind of thing I love, where utilizing existing game mechanics while also integrating changes that have been made by the mod, and we're coming up with unique solutions. It may work, it may not, but we're doing something, and if it doesn't work, we'll modify that and revisit. And that's the thing, I feel like I always have to explain the difference between good difficulty and bad difficulty, because it really applies here. I mean, some of you are saying, why don't you just enable, like, game rules so that you don't lose your stuff? That would fix it. Well, no, it wouldn't fix it, because it would make the game worse. Good difficulty is when the mechanics of the game and the things that kill you force you to play the game in a way that is more fun. That's what difficulty is. And so when you just arbitrarily kill me and dump all my stuff, all you're doing is frustrating me. It's actually a good time to do some breeding, because it seems like those things aren't here right now. Now, it may seem like it did the same thing with, you know, when we first entered the other dimension from that building on the hill, but it's fundamentally different, because the first time I went in there, it immediately dropped me into lava and I died. I thought, I know. And so I got new stuff, planning for the fact that I might die, you know, a very light inventory load, and I brought a bucket of water. And this time when I fell, I'm pretty sure I did still get burned, but I dropped the water, and it put me out, and it created a nice little bridge of obsidian where the lava was. And every subsequent time forward, I was able to explore a little more. I was able to look around, realize that it was an endless expanse, but that on one side of that drain, as I came to call it, there was a portal that brought me back. But unfortunately, I don't remember if that one did, but, once we got to the back rooms, we could find an exit portal, but it was very difficult to locate, and it would drop me, again, 500 feet in the sky and potentially kill me. But I looked at that as a challenge, too. I was able to, take down the coordinates. I found my way there, this time leaving a breadcrumb trail, and I matched that to a location in the real world and built the Catch Me platform. And over a lot of deaths and a lot of iteration, I was able to figure something out. I was able to map those things out. And now going there is basically a commute. That was kind of the whole premise of the first episode, and that was why I was so stoked on it. And you might say, well, that's the whole point of the mod, is that it doesn't feel like a developed game. It's doing things that are supposed to feel jarring and startling in the moment. But when you're playing for this long, it loses that after a while, and that's kind of why I think I'm probably going to take a break from this after this, and maybe come back with a new world at some point. I mean, for all I know, this is I don't even know if this world is progressing correctly. It may not even be the mod. It may have to do with progressing between versions. You've probably seen from my other mod showcases that I really like it when a mod forces me to kind of think in a non-traditional way to explore it. Alright, now all we need is to have a decent amount of light down here and just allow the grass to grow, which it looks like it's already making pretty excellent progress. But do you see what I'm saying? The main point of this is it serves the mod by seeming weird and unfair at first, but there's something you can do about it. It invites you to be curious. And I think another major factor of it is the fact that it is ultimately my decision when I do or don't go through there. Whereas in the last episode, the most annoying thing for me wasn't even the death in the cave. It was the fact that it at one point teleported me to another dimension and dropped me from 1,000,000 miles. There was no getting any of that back, and there was no predicting it. There was no planning for it, other than to just never have anything in my inventory. So, when it's difficult in the sense of there's nothing I can do about it, it just makes for frustrating gameplay. Whereas the other challenges we've encountered were, if anything, motivating. I don't know why I find it so funny, but I kind of like the idea of having my own little sort of foreman's office down here in the underground farm. We just have our little space in the back here that they can't access. Can cows go through single doors? I don't think they can. But I guess if I were to compare it to anything, I would compare it to Project Zomboid, which is one of my favorite games. Now, that's a game that is very unforgiving with death. That's a game where, you get bit once. You don't even have to die in the moment. If you get bit once, your fate is sealed, and that is it for your character. And the reason I don't tend to have such a problem with that is because that's a game where, ultimately, it's so open-ended that any risks you take are your own. Sure, you might end up in what seems like an impossible situation where you're getting swarmed by 6,000 zombies, but usually it's because of your own hubris that you got into that situation in the first place. There's none of that here when, again, you're just teleporting me at random. Oh, hey, a redstone torch and some netherrack. I've kind of made it an unofficial policy that whatever null drops, I'll just kind of leave. Whatever. Not really going to bother decorating this office right now, because it's not really supposed to be here to begin with. But I guess now is as good a time as any where we can open the gates. Not going to bother getting an axe. There you are. Oh, hey, you can pass through just one. There we are. Everybody down here. Alright, everybody, let's go. Time to grow big and strong. You'll grow a lot bigger and stronger when you're not getting mulched by void entities. Right, this way, oh my god. A wall of cows just stampeding down the stairs towards me. Let's make sure we have our fences. What are you doing, hanging around? Is it the cows can't walk upstairs or downstairs? I'm pretty sure they can't walk down. Pretty sure that was the premise of a Wayside School story. But anyway, you guys are eventually gonna have to, head all the way down so I can seal this off. You're not really safe standing at the absolute minimum distance. Oh, we should also probably fill this crater right here. Oh, that's such a low dip that it probably would put those things dangerously close to your guys' heads. Let's make sure that's not there. And it is kind of interesting to note the pacing. I mean, obviously, part of the reason it's been so slow is because for a really long time, the world was actually stuck, and that wasn't intentional, that was a bug. But ever since we've gotten on here, I've noticed that things kind of tend to come in waves, where it'll be quiet like this for a really long time, and then just everything starts happening all at once. And at first I kind of criticized that as being like, oh well, now it kind of has lost its subtlety. But now that I've spent more time with it and I see the bigger picture, I actually like it. It seems like in coming in bursts, it accomplishes something that is sort of an inherent problem. Wow, you actually struck inside. There we go. Is that everything? I think so. Maybe having netherrack in here isn't a good idea. Maybe removing that won't piss off Null too much. I don't know, I feel like having a block that stays on fire would help facilitate the spread. Probably wouldn't make too much difference, but still. Null joined the game. Did you ever leave? If you did, I didn't notice. But yeah, ultimately, I'm not too worried about... Oh, hey, pillagers. What are you guys doing here? Just leave my cows alone, okay? They've been through a lot. Oh my... Excuse me, I'm trying to prepare for an entirely different fight, so if you could please leave me alone for a second. I suppose there's no reason at this point not to build a diamond pick, everything out of diamond really, because I've just got so much. Even with the gravestones, I don't really feel confident enough to build diamond armor, but I rarely do that in the base game anyway. Alright, this way, folks. Fighting you with my eyes adjusting constantly ain't gonna be easy. Okay, there's your one shot. Wow, that took a little longer than expected. How did you get in there? Did you climb up over the wall? Alright, stay away. Hands off the merchandise. But yeah, it's just... It feels like, you know, for a metagame, I've ended up looking under the hood a whole lot. Like, I've had to constantly go into the config settings and change things, make it so that, like... You know, it doesn't do the crashes on me because that can screw up recording and cause sync issues. And that list of things I'm changing and modifications I'm making to, like, the game itself to accommodate these settings is just ever growing. Hey, look at that. Seems you've respawned the house I burned down across the lake. Well, let's go invite ourselves over. I don't have any pie, but well, if you want baked potatoes, I've got some of those. You know, do I have any stairs on me? I have one stair on me. How convenient. I wonder if this was maybe the first house Null built when he started playing Minecraft. It's even got an inventory full of things, just like the other. Some coal, even steak. But we kind of burned your house down in a rage at nothing happening last time. I think that no longer applies, so we'll leave you be. This time we can be neighbors. You picked a great spot. Oh, whatever, that's a garbage disposal. And yeah, ultimately I think even when it's working... Oh, thank you. Thank you, game. What even was that? Oh. You've intersected my base. Well, thank you very much. I have to quickly put all this stuff back. Yeah, Gravestone can't help with this. You know what might be cool if we really wanted to do this for the long haul is see what happens if we get it to intersect with one of those void blocks. Like if a world event can destroy those, or maybe even make them pick up a ball. As it stands, the only thing we'll be able to do with that is try and use some sticky pistons, for which we will need some slimes. But that kind of brings me to another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because you gave me a really helpful comment. That thing that killed me in the caves last time, the thing which declared, "Here I am." You told me that it actually wasn't supposed to go that way. Because of the circumstances of us being down there, it resulted in an instant death. But that's not what's supposed to happen. If it were to happen on the overworld, we would have had a little bit more warning. And that would have been a chase, and that might have been cool. And it would have been a lot easier to get our stuff back when it inevitably caught us. Yeah, but then again, we've run from things before, so maybe it really would have been possible. They say if you find a staircase in the woods, you should stay away. Just forget you saw it. But I've clear-cut a lot of trees, so thankfully there's no forest around. Nothing. But a good view of you things returning. Okay. Now would probably be a good time to get those cows underground. Hey, look at that. You've gone and patched it for me. That's nice, but I'm gonna have to get out of here pretty quickly. I just came back for ladders. Thank you. Oh, there is so much going wrong all at once. Oh, hey, no, you guys are being stupid and just standing at the top. I'll lead it this way, but I can only help you so much. The ones who stay in the bunker will survive. Natural selection doing its thing. Now look at that. I mean, you had no problem cleaving right through my base, but you make exceptions, cutouts, for your own structures. The way the world gen works is pretty interesting. But since those masses are over there, now would probably be a good time to start looking into this base. Yep, actually it's fine if you blow up there. Mm-hmm. It actually does seem to be solid stone. No, it isn't! They are nothing. Okay. Anything like this, we're carving out. Any stone, it's all gonna go. And actually, I wonder how deep this goes. Of course, it'll be kinda hard to tell from the stone beneath it if you go below the dirt. Okay, now we'll try the other corner. Again, being careful that we don't accidentally mine into a sign or something. Not finding much over here. Another question we might ask is, what is this on the immediate opposite side of? Right behind these signs. So perhaps it would, well, not right now, but perhaps it would be good to check out what's behind the rules. Oh, well, we already established there's no room back there. Any noises? It doesn't matter. We come up here, we patch our other hole up, and now you guys don't need to have any surface access at all anymore. What's... Oh, is there an invisible baby zombie? I think there is. I certainly couldn't see it. What's your deal, little guy? I've never had that happen before. Well, I don't want to open the door to something I can't fight. Oh, hey, my upstairs is flooded. What do you say we... Well, we can't sleep through the night. There's an invisible baby zombie at my door. And more pillars are erecting themselves across the river. Are you firmly establishing that as your side? My house isn't my own anymore. But was it ever really? I mean, you basically moved in last time. Still out here? Still out here, wild thing? There you... Okay, no, see, that's not allowed. That's the kind of thing that, like, you know, I can't really... Let's put you there. Come on. It's not letting me do what I need to. It's also, oddly enough, not spreading fire. That's kind of strange. Why is that not burning things? Well, there's my lava-coated grave. Oh no, now it's spreading fire. It's just not happening nearly as fast as you'd expect. Wait, if you kill me, if you strike me down, I'll at least know what you're called. Okay, good. You were taking damage. It's interesting that other NPCs don't even really seem to acknowledge these guys. Dead. I wonder if the gravestone will be carrying my old obituary. Let's do more signs. There's my current gravestone. There's my last one, so they do all stay. It's just that that gravestone has the other obituary. Yep, that's how it works. Maybe we do need an incinerator for these. Ow. Oh, lightning and R2 simultaneously. You guys are really ganging up on me here. Will R2 still be out here? I think they despawn when that happens. Alright, we got our stuff back. We need to get our guys underground now. I've put it off for far too long. Oh my. But it's given us slow falling. Howdy, champ. Let's just avoid your gaze. And start to get these guys underground. Do I have dirt? Not enough. Alright, well, you guys won't mind if I use cobblestone for this, right? Just dump it all down there. Also, zombie, if you could be so kind as to not follow me, that would be awesome. Thank you for respecting my boundaries. You guys, this way. God, those things just keep killing you. I'm gonna need all your beef. Not so many of you left now. Wow. Bunker complete. You are now the mole cows. Those things stay up there. Oh, but you'll try and climb down here. That's alright, though. We knew that that could happen. This was ultimately all about making sure that they won't just pass through you on the surface, and from what we've seen, that actually is working. Look at that. We actually did get to sleep through the night, and now it's progressing normally. Okay, but I'm still trying to work out my next move. Right, we wanted to try Operation Open the Backrooms. Let's try heading back through here. Right here. It's always the ones I don't want. Without a gravestone right at the end of the tracks. Actually, I think this one might have been closer, right? I mean, I don't quite remember. Let's just place these down. Maybe this is where the rail should be. It's just sucked to be trying to understand these worlds and find things out, only to constantly be yanked away, sometimes after only a few seconds. I mean, we've built things to make it easier, and that's sort of slowly allowed us to piece some things together. But particularly in the drains, it's made it so that we really can't explore these at all without some kind of assistance. Yep, here we are. That portal appears quite a bit sooner than in the standard tunnel. And these are actually one case where I actually think death being the only way out of here would make the game better, in conjunction with these portals that are rare and have to be found. Alright, a null book. Been a while since we received one of these. Because, and I'm not saying insert like a monster here, something that chases you down. There's a way to do that, but I'm not saying you need backrooms entities to make this work. All I'm saying is that these could be scary for the reason that Minecraft survival is scary, where, you know, you think you're fine, nothing's coming to kill you, but it's seemingly endless and you just don't have any of the things you'd be able to scavenge in the overworld. If it's like a slow burn where you're just kind of like slowly starving out, where jumping into the lava becomes your best option, that could be interesting. Okay, now we're here. We want to find land in the 80s. And I'm not talking about the decade, so... Look at that, you're still here. You're still in the exact same spot. Now that raises some interesting questions about how it handles these dimensions when we're not in them. But alright, this way to the 80s. And let's do it this way. We have a lot of cobblestone in our inventory. Let's move that torch upward. And start by seeing what's above us. Nope, it is entirely night. So breaking through a chunk of this would not actually solve our problem. What happens if we try to go up and over one of these portals? I mean, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but yeah. Open that up. Just void from above. Does it matter which one we touch? Whee! Yeah, they all seem to come out right about here. Help. What happens if I reply with that? Something very different. It doesn't return that in the chat. It appears as a message. Okay, we're gonna try and go back to the drains. I have another idea. We're gonna try to go back to the drains for... I have another idea. Nope. Alright, we're in the drains. Here's my next step, the next phase of the plan. I don't actually expect this to bear anything, but we gotta try everything we can. And that's gonna be, we're gonna get as high up as we can go. And we're gonna try and stair tunnel upward. Or rather, just kind of like build stairs upward. How high can we go? When it randomly teleports me, it is going to kill me. This is the kind of thing I wasn't really willing to try before, but with gravestones, it should offset that problem. Oh, hey, there's more drains over the hump. I can see them from here, even if the lava is sort of muted in the fog. Hey there. You're just walking around. You didn't instantly disappear like the other ones. What happens if I mention the clan? I mean, your clan. Don't get any ideas. I don't remember if they actually had a name for it. Although, did you see that? From a certain angle, things are like illuminated red. What's that about? What's our altitude right now? Also, I'm seeing like splits in the pipes. They all run parallel, but not necessarily in the same way. And the angles at which I can see this brightness get more extreme the higher up I go. Where before it was only in one specific direction, now it only goes away if I look back. I can still see you moving down there. Maybe you want to come on up and say hi? Actually, wait. I think there's another one down there. Huh, I've never actually been able to see this far before in this dimension. Now it's becoming less of a red and more of a muted gray. but it's still brighter. So there are things living here. Was that the draw distance being lowered, or is that something else? Am I somewhere else? I'll give it one thing. This is some of the longest amount of time I've been able to stay here. Which is why I'm sort of starting to believe that maybe the teleport isn't entirely random. And I think we've pretty much shattered my theory that it teleports you more quickly depending on how many times you've teleported recently, because it took me a lot of tries to get here. In fact, that black one that appeared on the bridge, that portal, actually is a lot more convenient than the whole infrastructure we set up. So the buildings are kind of obsolete. Ooh. You are so lucky I'm holding down control. You haven't hit me with anything in a while. I'm honestly not sure if I'm even still in the drains. But I'm about to run out of cobblestone, and we are pretty high up. It is going to be such a pain to get down here. I kind of thought I would be teleported long ago before I ran out. Something just changed. But yep, there we are, 233 blocks. And now we begin our descent. Here's a bit of spookiness that we made for ourselves, and, well, if we do think of this as Null's Void, his own world, that he has to intrude on ours from, well, maybe our construction looks sort of similar to his and how it presents to us. I can see multiple of these creatures down here. They're everywhere! Far more than their server can account for, I think. Oh no, F3 away. Hi. And there we go. And we're falling. We landed in a tree, which makes things annoying, but we can go get our stuff. Hey, you've gone and built more out here. You know, I never did last time try and figure out what these signs meant. I'm also not sure if they present on the exact same levels every time. Whoa, 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 though. 23583... Z190. My grave is all the way up there? Is this gonna have problems too? Yep. See, one thing I'm starting to think is that even when it's not broken, this mod is probably too long for its own good. Because after a while of like seeing the same things over and over, it really does just become a case of just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. Null.error. Well, here I am. 235-83-190. Where's my stuff? By doing that... Restore items, replace, add. What, is that a command? So there we can copy the death ID, so we would do /restore dizzle229, and then Control V. Well, I accidentally just added it to my name, but then we go there, and add, because otherwise I think it might completely remove everything in my inventory there, and we can get that. Okay, so there is still, yeah, with this mod, there is still a contingency for times when, for whatever reason, we can't go get it. But Well, I was going to say that shouldn't really happen too often, because I was looking through the mod page, and it says that, like, it does have contingencies for, like, if you fall out of the void, or if you die inside a block. Like, it does have, like, plans for that. But this is broken script, and there are kind of some unique situations we might get into. Whatever. I'm counting as legit, because we did go to where it said. Back here. Let's see if we can interact with those null beings. One question is, do they only appear after a certain time? Can't tell if I can see them out there. I don't think so. So let's climb a little bit. It does always seem to precede happenings when we can see these high blocks. I see a couple of them moving. I think we just had to get some distance. Let's go ahead and break this one. It has the usual expected result. Did I have torches? I did. Now, what happens if I try and reach you, get closer? You'll just disappear. You're only visible in the distance, which explains why we could only see you when we got a bit higher up. Could come down here and see what's down this tunnel. You guys did tell me that there's something in these tunnels. And this game isn't very kind to those trying to find whatever it is, but well, it's not like we have much else to do. And we get teleported. Okay, that grave it placed correctly. So seeing as this block was not here when the stairs were placed, let's venture inside and see what's around. It seems like these waterfalls, these stone or cobblestones seem to be placed wherever there's water. Howdy. I don't even need all this back, man. I just want my stairs. Alright, guys, come on. Look at you longing for upstairs. Come on. There's been an apocalypse, and you need to repopulate the Earth. Of course, that apocalypse is primarily caused by you guys being completely oblivious to those cloud swarms. There we go. I mean, really, none of this had to happen to you. You just all waited right in the one place they could get you. I need a drink in my office. Now I know why I put this here. It's actually surprisingly comfy. To be honest, I sort of like what you've done with the place. And if you remember, earlier one of you said that the thing that killed me in the mines was actually supposed to be the start of a chase. It was just because I happened to be in the mines at the time that it didn't really have a lot of places to spawn it, thus necessitating putting it kind of right next to me. It was basically a spawn kill, as you put it. And that got me thinking. Another one of you chimed in and basically said that's kind of the inherent issue with making something that is supposed to latch onto a game that can go any way, that can look any way. When you're designing a mod for this, you have to make it so that it seems so tailored to you, and yet is actually so general in the way it presents, because it never knows what you'll be doing or where you'll be at any given moment, and that makes a world of difference in making such a huge variety of potential designs happen. When you start thinking about it from that perspective, it's crazy how something that is meant to look like a 4-year-old threw up all over it is actually very deliberate in a lot of ways, and a lot of the things that we're experiencing may in fact be bugs. These obituaries are filling up my inventory. They do not stack. But I just read a comment, because I am just going back and looking for things to try now that we no longer have to at least fear death in the way that we did. And that's that this day-night glitching is actually caused by R2, just like we experienced earlier in the series, and you kind of speculated that it could be because of the one that's stuck in the waterfall. So if we head over there, maybe letting it kill us will actually end this nightmare. Well, not the greater nightmare, just the current one. Meanwhile, let's do with our obituary like we do with all things in this world. Toss them down into the void. Kind of feels like a wishing well. Throw some flowers down there with them. If that doesn't feel symbolic, I don't know what does. I mean, this is pretty dreamlike, right? We're constantly flicking back and forth between night and day. And we have to climb this wild, impossible tower so that we can let a monster devour us to stop it for everyone. Hey, whoa, you see that? We just watched the moon change. It looks different every time we come back. Is it counting each one as a passing day? Is the moon changing cycles? Or is it doing that change that I've been hearing about? How it's supposed to look different in this mod. Which, you guys have told me that I need to set the texture packs in a certain way. Guys, I did. Mod resources is above default. Get me. Don't try and slap me from beyond the grave like that. Now, when that isn't happening, the day-night cycle does seem to be moving normally. And with the exception of you coming back, maybe we can travel over there and see if it's continued. This time we'll take the nether portal. We died doing what we loved. Dying. There's our torches back. It's taken me a couple minutes to climb all this, and thus far the sun is moving normally, and no blinking that's plagued us for the last couple hours. In other words, good call. That may also have been stopping progress. I mean, because I'm pretty sure progression is tied to, like, how many days had passed, so that may have been holding us up. This is weird. You're washing over me, but you're not actually... Oh, never mind. There you go, damaging me. Okay, I just need a lever real quick. Just real quick, bud. In order to determine where the middle of you is. Seems like there's only, like, one very specific hitbox for you. But now that we've got this piston, we can head back to the Blackout base and see what's going on with the void block. Somebody asked me, why don't you experiment with this thing? Well, I've wanted to. Can't really do much of anything without the appropriate blocks, because it's completely indestructible. So if we go like that... Does it need to be... You actually won't move at all. You literally said you moved it here using pistons. Put you here. That works. But if we put you elsewhere, it doesn't. So like if we go doop doop. So that's something that did work for others that isn't working now. It's locked in place. I've never seen a block like this before, or actually, I've never tried it on Bedrock. But you know what? We are actually in a world where we don't need to go deep down to do so. And it's actually positioned perfectly. It will move Bedrock, so this void block is actually tougher than Bedrock. I have another idea. This is stupid. But what if we try moving the teleports? Also cannot be moved by pistons. While we're here with torches, I guess we might as well see how our grass farm is doing. And it seems like it's actually spreading quite well. Alright, let's place some more so that it can continue to do so. I really was hoping it was as simple as just demolishing the upper levels of the back rooms. But sadly, it seems that leaving it be is the best for now. What is with all this? Cobblestone and smooth stone, like the caves here are made of. What's it doing up here? Did I land in the tree when I died? And I do wonder if those same null creatures are actually present here, too. I had speculated earlier on that these are just like two different sides of the same dimension, the back rooms and the drains. But we now know from the obituaries that they are not. Is this new soundtrack? Look. It was all his fault. Are you Circuit? You look like you're, like, glitching out, but if I look closely, I almost swear I can see a face amid the pixels. That is so weird. You literally look like somebody just smashed the monitor. I would think that the screen was physically damaged if I were standing a few feet away. I feel tempted to type the name in again. This whole thing, I think what's really defined this experience is a desperate search for context. We're shown all these bits and pieces of who these people were, obviously the biggest find being the world itself and the game files. And beyond that, we've just kind of been waiting for it to give us a little bit more. And something it's always important to go back and remind yourself is just how much of this is confirmation bias. So little is actually directly stated, and it's important to acknowledge which assumptions are assumptions. Throughout all of this, it's been the music that makes things so much weirder. It's just, you don't normally pay attention to it. A lot of the time I play with music off, but here it's just the fact that everything seems to go on as normal. Like the game itself hasn't realized how horribly it's broken. It's like somebody who stands up and walks around after being badly injured in an accident. While we're here, we may as well do something useful and construct a tower intended to kind of light the way up. Yep. And it's as I suspected. Something is deeply wrong here. Oop. See, I've been trying to climb my way back up with this thing, and I've never been able to. Turns out this isn't... Oh my god, that's why! Look at that, Null! You're pulling little tricks on me! You knew that I couldn't see the water tower in the dark, and so you built another one right next to it. There we are. God, this is a scary climb. That's why I started building that torch tower. Oh, don't think I've forgotten that you're still here. Here, let's, play you a song. I don't know what I expected, but it's weird that you don't react. Is that normal? Look, we can see, well, what looks like the sun. Is that the sun? It looks to be daylight. No, that's the sun. Huh. We're seeing the moon through the game, and only underwater can we see its normal texture. Sun looks the same either way. Let's try it, because maybe things have gotten reset. Let's reshuffle the resource packs. Well, that was definitely the cause. That was terrifying! Not as terrifying as that, though. God. Oh God, you've put me in a pickle. You waited for me to get home, huh? Okay, wait, where's a pick? Thank you. What's on fire right now? Are we good? Okay then. This really has just become like, well, almost like cancer cells just growing off of my house, huh? Like everything is concentrated right on top of me in this episode. I don't know what to do about it. Oh wait, here's an idea. That high block. We can destroy it. No, not you. You? You? We can move it. I don't have anything to actually do with that information. I'm just saying it's interesting that we're capable. Huh. Wait, what if we had... I mean, I'm not going to have anything for it, but I was saying, what if we tried to remove it with Silk Touch? I'm curious. Okay, so under there, more redstone. And nothing beneath. Just had to check. You know what? This uses deep slate. Well, look at you, Null. Something that was so opposed to the very existence of deep slate. Now you're building out of it. Unless it's something to do with the fact that you're not the only entity in here. Just look at this place. Just look at how everything's changed. There's very little here that's of our own construction, and what is barely recognizable in amid all this. It's weird because it resembles griefing at first. But as time goes on, it's really more like it just builds so quickly that you become irrelevant in your own world. You know what I think we're about due for? A new house. I mean, we've been here all this time. It's clearly not ours anymore. And we need something to do, so why don't we start on something new? So I just realized something. The Null Book is technically enchanted. Hang on now. If we were to put this in here, does it actually impart any abilities? It doesn't. Oh. Now that block is gone. So it's not about loading and reloading, it's just length of time passed. Well, that means there's practically nothing to anchor me here. We need to learn from the cows. They have so much to teach us. And so that's why we are also going to become bunker buddies. Howdy, cows. Don't you go forming a hideous mass too on me. You guys can climb ladders? You guys can climb ladders. What's happening there? Do I need to... You won't get punched off. What about that? What is this world? What's happening in this game? I wish I knew. But I won't. Now I know why I built this office. Now I know why I need to expand this office. Because I live here now. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. Alright, we'll just leave this for as long as possible. I've got so much more construction to do. There we go. Place isn't so bad. Hey, you dropped off another one of these while I was working. This place isn't so bad once you seal it off from the dangers of the caves just beyond the walls. Cowbase is coming along pretty well, if I do say so myself, and let's be real, this isn't a solution. Really more of an invitation. Because we know that just about nothing we can do can actually stop Null from doing what it does. But we kind of want to see what it does, don't we? That's kind of the whole point of this, because some of you told me that Blackout's clan base was supposed to be an underground spawn. When it appears on the surface, that's a bug. So maybe there are others like it? Oh, you guys stop complaining. What is this? What is this? It's like you're actively trying to feed yourselves to the void creatures. Oh my god, we've got a biblically accurate cow amalgam. These guys have turned into a synchronized lament configuration. So I've gotten this OpenGL error thing a few times. I've noticed you don't always say, "Here I am." Continuing to supply me, I see. Look, that chest was even facing the wall. Maybe we should leave it. It's proof that you can find me even down here, yes, but more importantly, it's yours. It's something that's yours in here. It's kind of like a blessing. You did it again, like, immediately after. Alright, Null, you win. This beautiful lakeside property is yours, as well as the one across the way. Your real estate empire is growing. But I challenge you to come after me down here. I mean, with no windows, the value's gotta be worthless, right? In this market, who knows? Point is, this is our new space. And we should be safe from any of the dangers you can throw up on the surface. If that's the case, we're gonna need a trapdoor here. I don't know if it'll help. But that's the problem. If I'm living down there, then those null creatures will be trying to make their way down the ladder. And if these guys only live on the ladder, then they're still gonna keep trying to sacrifice themselves to null. Feels almost intentional at this point. What if we tried digging the base up? What's beneath it? Nothing really? Yeah, it's just the regular stone. Alright, I don't know if there's really anything to be gained from tearing more of this. But if we were to take some of these, I don't know if we've tried this already. I know that if we attempt to use them in any capacity, they disappear from our inventory. But what if we try throwing one out? Just appears as these pink and black squares. Can we try crafting them? No, but wouldn't that just be something? Hey there, Null. Your appearance in the text right before putting everything back to normal is almost like you were trying to execute a command and failed the first time. Alright, we're gonna have to do something about this. I was thinking we could use something to spruce this place up, so let's take this down here. Place you... yeah, above this seems about right. And then see if we can do... this. There we are. Now no one can mistake what this place is all about. You're starting to come down, which is good. Alright, I'm gonna remove these ladders. Here's how we're gonna do this. Remove the ladders. Place one here. And then further back, we'll place one of these. And now we can go like that. Now you should be protected both from above and from yourselves. Now, who wants to reproduce? Tell you what is our altitude here? 206. So just how high can we take this? Wow, I had no idea Minecraft would let you build this high. Now we're truly just surrounded by a black void. Height limit for building is 319, and that's what we've reached. The top of the end. I feel like I should commemorate the occasion somehow. I just don't know how. Maybe this mod is perhaps too slow for its own good, and I acknowledge... well, the Catch Me platform can't save me from this. But if I had been at a better angle, the water might have. And that it may even be skewed by the amount of time I've spent in other worlds and with the day-night cycle broken. But... so it's a mod that is so dense and such a mystery as to how it works intentionally that sometimes I really am just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen, because it makes it very difficult to continue with business as usual once you've been on it for a while. But you never really quite know where to look unless it gives you some new names or lore. And all throughout, you spend so much time on it that these events become a bit repetitive. You stop being scared by them. It just kind of becomes part of the landscape. Ah! And sometimes it just hits you with everything all at once. In other words, when I say it's too slow, what I really mean is that it allows you to get too used to things. If it's anything like before, Ram may be about to join us on our own world. Every time I try to speak about this, you take it as a challenge. Hey, a floating grave. You're out there. What if I invoke you now? You're probably just gonna appear and kill me. Wait, what if I'm running when it happens? It's Null that appears and kills me, not Ram to die. Okay, I followed the noise. And it brought me to this thing. Okay, maybe that's just you doing stuff. I don't remember what you did on World 2. But even though it said Ramtudai joined, you and Null, you're one and the same. Can you get me while I'm up here? Not quite. You are gone. Or just doing that. It was your fault. This is a first for this world, but you spawned in much, much less time on World 2. It says Ramtudai, your name tag. You actually are watching me. I don't care if it messes with my reputation. Oh my god! Oh my god! It disconnected me! M-A-R-K-U-S. Wait, like Notch? I don't know what's part of this mod and what isn't. Wait, it's still nighttime, right? Maybe I go back there during the day. I'm just sitting here in the wee hours of the morning. And that occurred, and... of course it happens just as I said something about it. As it always seems to. But, good God, that was actually scary and glitch-like. Let's get our stuff back, thank you. And just think, when you appeared on the other world, or when it seemed like you did, does that mean that you were physically watching us there too, and we just never saw you? When I look around at all this abandoned nonsense, it certainly feels like a beta multiplayer server, and clearly that's the whole idea. I really am at a loss for what more to do around here, other than, of course, just wait for more time. So, I don't know, maybe I'll take a break from this for a little while, maybe I'll come back to this world, or maybe when the new update comes out, because I'm pretty sure there is a big one in the works, maybe I'll even start a new world, start a Season 2. But we'll see what happens in the future. In the meantime, I'm retiring underground. These are my friends now, and it turns out, while I was trying to protect them, that they were the wisest all along. It feels like an entity conflicted, like something that simultaneously does and does not want to be seen, that wants to remain hidden, but also wants to tell its story. I don't know, maybe the force that speaks to me and watches me from the edge of the shadows isn't the same as the one that builds. Maybe the one that lights me on fire and drops me from 500 feet isn't the same as the one that stays in the drains. And for that matter, what are all those shadows in the drains? Has it done this to countless others? And these are just the ones we're hearing about? When it broke out in Null's world, was that just the start of something that will eventually devour every world? Which is why their impression is all over this, and I'm just the latest in a long line of players falling victim to it. See, in the beginning, I kept thinking that maybe the drains were a realm made by Null to torture us. That's what it seemed like from our obituary. But the more I've realized that Null was just the first piece of this overall much greater threat that may have even originated from the game itself, rather than anything Null did. Now I have to look at those words differently, and that's a really interesting way that things have been framed. Maybe it was a realm created to torture Null. Maybe those were other Shadow players that have been taken, or maybe it's just infinite instances of Null. I mean, he's already been divided between his names, Null and Ram to Die. If you can join the game and be absent, leave and be present, then what else is possible? I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Time seems like it's sped up. What happens if I were to try to... R2? I knew you won! You know what? We're in no hurry to get our stuff back, and if anything, I have learned that perhaps sometimes it's just safer underground. That. We've seen similar things in these menus, but this is by far the closest thing to what I saw in World 2. We've also seen 3 of them standing together. It's always worth checking these menus, can't you see? I'm starting to think so, and that implies the existence of actually more than one of these beings. Because look, we've seen the one that seemed to crawl towards us. We've seen images of ones that stand on 2 legs. I do think it's a group of beings now, just based on the menu art. I also have reason to believe we can't trust the moon, but for whatever reason, I just haven't seen the results of that. Anyway, I initially recorded the rest of this video and closed it off, like, over a week ago at this point. I see these things have lingered. And hey, since this place isn't ours anymore, we may as well. Always the same result. There we go, I had died there. That's one of the problems, but at least the obituary saves us once again. This really is a great mod. I might just use it for, like, regular Minecraft at this point, because I never liked the whole, like, 5-minute to despawn thing. I think it's interesting that we can actually start to break those strange blocks that destroy chunks. But always just before it's gone that it disappears. Which is kind of a funny thing to say, but you know what I mean. Okay, so it's been trying to spawn us up here. So this is where we're going to begin our efforts. I mean, I got this idea because I just played a map for Gary's mod called GMBR Complex, based on the Cane Pixel series, and sort of the unique thing about that is how it takes the backrooms, but it's a bit of a more scientific approach to it. And that's kind of how I've always approached these mods, so I figured paying a little bit of homage to that might be in order. Well, this just spawned right here while I was building. Haha. And your refusal to move means you are forever cursed with this title. Actually, I do wonder what would happen. It's the kind of mod where we just have to try everything and see what sticks. If I label you accurately, place that on a sign, will anything change? Not that I can see. And see, I feel like that's the issue and part of the reason why I feel like this series is stagnated and why I need to wait a while. It's because it is, as I've said, very reactive. A lot of it is just me kind of waiting around for the next thing, and that makes it very difficult to keep it entertaining over however many hours this has been. I mean, for as long as this series already is, it's many, many more hours of recording. And I'm fully aware that it's entirely possible that the world is bugged. I mean, we did change versions, it was having issues earlier. It seemed to kind of dislodge itself and progress again. But you guys are saying that I've only seen, like, roughly half of what there is? I wanted really to criticize this for being so friggin' slow. Like, it is too slow for its own good, at least in my experience. It seems in a lot of ways like you, as an individual player, are not necessarily supposed to experience everything. Oh hey, we have Nether Sheep again! That's really funny. Hey, could you not block the path, though? It very much feels like the kind of mod where that post-game discussion is the point. You're not supposed to see everything yourself. You're supposed to have these weird things happen and then go online and compare your experiences with other players. Just kind of put your heads together and brainstorm ideas for things to try next. That's where this kind of thing stands out, and on the one hand, I don't really like it because it makes it really difficult to record. It's the how do we know when it's over problem. I'm trying to show you everything, and there's not much I can do proactively. But on the other, I'm thinking back to when I was a teenager, I would have been so excited for stuff like this. Especially in those times when it seems to offer its own encouragement. I think it's one of those things where I kind of have to understand that I'm not really the target audience for this, but I can still place myself outside of that perspective and understand why this would be so exciting. I mean, I'm just thinking back to when I was a teenager, how cool I would have found something like this. I mean, just think, going and waiting at school all day, wondering if anybody's found anything new, hurrying home and checking the forums to see if anybody's found anything, and then playing yourself hours at a time and just having some bit of strangeness, some bit of dumb luck with putting something into the chat, and then being so excited to go and share it with everybody else, and seeing what they come up with based on that. It's the kind of horror that is meant to be an iterative community process, and the fact that you can experience that over, like, I would almost call it, like, collective single player, is pretty cool. And I can't say that it's not appropriate, considering that it's literally based on an ARG. It's like a community mystery, you know? The kind of thing where everyone gets involved, and it's by casting that wide net that you make the mystery seem so much more open-ended, so much more mysterious in how difficult it is to crack. But with that community effort, it makes sure that everyone sort of gets that experience through the shared social media aspect. I think it's really weird that those chunk errors actually protect you from the sun. Those blocks form an artificial darkness that the game actually registers. But it may be a bit of a stretch, but it kind of in a way reminds me of back when I was really young and my cousin and I were both playing through the original Kingdom Hearts, but we found it really hard. So every time we would get together, we would plug both memory cards into the PS2 slots, and whoever had the farthest save, we would load up their game and then make a new save on the other person's memory card. And in that way, we would just sort of, whoever got farther first would sort of allow the other person to leapfrog forward. This is that, but it's like an intended part of the experience, where each time somebody makes some progress, it sort of brings the whole community forward. There was something there just for a moment. It looked like one of those void entities, but if that's the case, the despawning was mighty weird. One of the most interesting things about this mod is that really uncertain nature of your relationship with Null, and it can change based on player action, but regardless of where you stand in the reputation system, it's very confusing, and it works here. Hey, look at that. Oddly enough, by mining lower, it stopped me from taking fall damage here. Actually, it's spawning us way lower than it previously used to. I wonder if changing the world has actually done that. Sorry for the dogs barking outside. I've got some construction to finish here. Alright, we have our new landing pad. I had intended for there to be, like, windows on every side so that it could be more like the complex. Alright, so let me explain why I just got really started. It got dark, and I stepped forward and saw that, and it sort of looked like a head coming out of there. But at least we have some place to wait a bit. And we also have this ladder right here, so that we can come up and step outside at any time. We can also start to label things so that we know where to step if we want to do a certain thing. So this right here would be the elevator. I guess that door would also bring you here. Water. Part of me feels like it's kind of pointless to do all this stuff right now when I'm gonna be taking a break and coming back on a new world at some point. But I don't know, I just wanted to do something cool in the end. I wanted something that was in the spirit of what I feel like is the science of this. Oh my god. Always making your presence known, huh? I really think it's all in the name of immersion, because it's putting you into the role of that creepypasta protagonist. The one who, reduces all their work into a montage in the story, but who really probably spends even a lot more time than this poring over every possibility. I just watched you spawn in. A portal in the back rooms. What does that lead to? Anyway, let me just get my thing done first. I got a little bit of extra glass left over, so we might as well have some fun with it. There. There's a really scary bottom to this, even if it's not exactly lined up. Oh, and roughly half or 2/3 of our torches. From the back rooms straight into here. And there we go, that's why. Literally falling into my own grave right above the initial portal. What? You teleported me within here. Yeah, you're starting to get more aggressive and less consistent with these things. Oh no. You put me momentarily in the wall and then let me out. Oh, maybe it's because I might have to move this stuff, the planks. That was weird. That looked like you teleported me twice in a really short period. Okay, it doesn't... Twice now it's teleported me trying to build the staircase there to see if I could observe nether beings. Or whatever this place is. Tortured beings? Or are they the torturers? I don't think so. Hello? I saw that, and at first I was like, oh, a chicken. And then I was like, wait, that's impossible, and it's the most unnerving thing I've seen yet. There's my grave over there from when it dropped me. You are moving. But I can't do anything with you. Just for posterity, say cheese. This is the weirdest thing I've yet encountered. I'm trying! I'm trying to help. It's like they trapped you in a chicken. Is this your torture? They only show up in the distance. They move like players. This realm being called null torture, it makes me really reconsider everything I had thought. I mean, are these all players who have been taken by this thing? Are they beings related to it? Are they different instances of null? Are we seeing his time spent here scattered across different instances? Oddly enough, the biggest development here has just been learning what this place is called. I don't know where else to go from here. Maybe you can let me know. Maybe I should save it for later. Maybe it's worth coming back. I'm just not sure. Either way, I think I've made my thoughts known, and I kind of feel like I'm caught in a loop at this point, but maybe that's the idea. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this mod out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one. And maybe we have come full circle because, in a first, Null has actually given me a Catch Me platform of his own.